or in my judgment, a $200 million plan after you pay it off after 35 years, they've got to be held accountable. It's not disrespecting them or Scott or the fine people on his committee to hold them accountable, to insist that they be able to withstand a significant level of scrutiny. This plan, for good or ill, if it passes, will define this community for the next 35 years.
Why is that bad, though?
I
mean, why is that bad?
Why is what bad?
Having a plan that would define the community for 30 years.
From what I understand, if it's a good plan, it's a great idea. If it's a bad plan, it's a terrible idea.
It's a brand new school, from what I've read, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a state-of-the-art school in a district that is used to getting a lot of very good state-of-the-art. And it also combines an administrative building, at least that's part of it. The schools currently are falling apart. That is a plan. Why is it bad?
It's not a plan with detail. It's a skeleton without flesh. Okay, they have a facilities management plan. People of the community actually asked them to make. Last time that we had this discussion about putting 2 schools on one campus, why don't you make up your minds as to what you're going to do with all the facilities? Because if you put everybody over here, you're going to have empty buildings over there. What are you going to do with it? And so they have this thing called the facilities management plan. The facilities management plan really is kind of a detailed statement of intent. It's not an architectural drawing that says, here's what the school is going to look like. It's an estimate of what the school is going to look like in concept, and that's what the construction companies priced against. And that's the plan that I believe that they have that's worth going to the people with, but it's at a point now where we have to say, yes, we're willing to put the money in the bank. Now let's see what the actual school is going to look like. Let's see what it includes, and let's see what we buy.
In a district with declining population, why do we need another school? Why can't we just take the Andover? Losser is going to be closed, it looks like, anyway. I think that's pretty much a done deal. You've got declining population. Would you, if this passes, would you think that the Bloomfield district would go and reach out to other districts to get students to beef up that?
They probably will.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, but you can't.
To take students from other districts?
To attract students from other districts for tuition-paying students, we already do that. That's fine with me, but this is not a command economy. You don't know what you're going to get. One of the reasons why we need to do this is because we have property values in our neighborhoods that have declined drastically over the last 5 years. We're surrounded by communities, with the exception of Pontiac, great role model, the Pontiac school system, that has not. We are surrounded by communities that have either drastically refurbished or, in most cases, built new schools. We're going to be competing for families in the future to move into this area who are looking for good public education. And I can tell you, I already know families who've looked at Andover and Gloucester and said, I'm moving to Troy. I'm moving to Walled Lake. We're sending people out of our community. We're going to wind up with an aging community that wonders why people with families won't move here anymore.
That is nonsense. We're paying $21,000, $22,000 a kid. That's more than any surrounding area with the exception of Birmingham. The International Academy's in a decrepit building, and their output is through the roof. Our scores are declining relative to Birmingham, according to Standard & Poor's School Matters, with regard to our fellow peer school districts. The fact that the idea that you need a gold-plated, outrageously expensive,
no gold.
Excuse me, it's gold-plated school building in these difficult economic times that are going to encumber this community for the next 35 years at a millage rate that you can't in any way, shape, or form guarantee.
But doesn't that help the district? If you have a gold-plated, I'm not saying it's gold-plated, but even if it's silver-plated, doesn't that help the district?
If you
increase property values?
Yes, no, it doesn't, not necessarily. Oh, yes, if you encumber the property going forward and you have to pay many more mills going forward and not get value for your money, that depresses property value.
Joe, can I ask a question? When could you name a millage that you'll know will be sufficient in another 10 years?
I don't understand the question.
Well, the question you're saying that we have
respected
economists. Wait a minute. We have respected economists who are saying, you vote for a millage now, in 5 years, 10 years, you're going to have to pay more because the economy is going one way or the other. Well, when can you put your stake in the ground and say, here's a millage that we will be able to support for the next 10 or 20 years?
Well, in most school districts, the school bond loan fund protects the millage level of a bond issue. We're not going through the school bond loan fund. We're not going to go for this bond issue for another 5 years. Respected economists say that the bond rates, AAA municipal bond rates, are going to go through the roof. I remind you that in the 1980s, they went past 13.5%. This projection of 1.43 is based on a maximum municipal bond rate of 6.5%.
So buy now.
Which means
buy now.
No, they're buying in 2015. They're not buying now. They're buying in 2015.
That's one of my questions, Scott.
It is true.
What's the urgency here? Why is this timing critical?
Why? Because we have to get the people in who are going to do the design and the early construction work now in order to make sure we have the school going forward in the future. It's a matter of public finance. I wouldn't necessarily run my business this way, but
I wouldn't either.
But we have to have the money in the bank. We have to have the spending authority in order to be able to pay the design and consultants in order to do the early work on the school. It's a substantial component of the cost, and we can't incur cost without having the money obligated.
Joe,
Scott, my question to you is, it's correct. I mean, we don't disagree that if 1.43 doesn't generate enough revenue, then more mills will have to be generated to pay the bond. Two, it could be a great deal more. I'm not saying it will be. I'm saying it could be.
You don't know. You just said you don't know.
That's right. I don't. But I know it's possible. Isn't that a pertinent fact? Shouldn't this fact be shared with the community? And hasn't the board?
Shared.
No, it hasn't. Where? It's never been mentioned.
Anybody who reads the millage proposal.
Excuse me. Ingrid Day said that they're committed to this millage. Beyond prayer, there's nothing they can do to affect that commitment. You know, because if the bond rate goes up, which a lot of people are predicting that it is, then you're going to be paying many more mills from 2015 for the next 30 years. Shouldn't people be told that? They're not being told that, and the board is derelict in not making that clear.
Well, we disagree. The millage is set. The millage will be what it is.
The millage is not set.
If it's insufficient, then maybe we have to talk about it in another 10 years.
No, we don't have to talk about it. They're going to levy as many mills as it takes to meet the obligation.
But there's a cap on it, isn't there?
There is no cap. They are legally obligated to levy whatever number of mills it takes to pay, like you have to pay your mortgage. You have to pay the note every year for 30 years at a fixed rate. You must do that. You have no choice. The board will have the authority if we vote yes, and the board will have no choice but to vote for it. The Ingrid Day talks about a commitment to maintain the millage.
Ingrid Day isn't here.
Ingrid Day is the board president. She has authority.
Go ahead. We have a couple minutes left. Do you have a question that you want to ask Joe? Or a statement?
Sure. Why is it that every time these things get raised, there's a group of people that is so vitriolically opposed to progress in the community? I mean, this is not an issue of a popularity contest for the school administration, for the school board. If we don't like the school board, let's vote them out. If we don't like the school administration, let's fire them.
Go ahead.
I am not vitriolic. I am not reflexively anti-millage. I spent years of my life at no compensation on school boards and working for school reform and school finance reform. It's been an avocation of mine for 30 years. You come up with if they come up with a coherent, consistent plan, I'm going to help make it get it passed. I agree that there's been too much public rhetoric that is on both sides that have been inappropriate. And we respect the school board. We respect the members of the millage committee. It is these proposals that are flawed and need to be defeated.
All right, Joe, let me go. Scott, 30 seconds. Summarize your position in 30 seconds or less.
It's important that we have a school with a modern design and infrastructure because we're not only competing with neighboring community schools for families and students, we're competing with the rest of the world to produce graduates who are prepared to take on the challenges of a continually morphing, technologically driven workplace. The only way our country will continue to maintain a high standard of living if we continue to gain in productivity, which is the ability to produce more output for less input. And our schools have to take this challenge seriously in their education mission, and our current school infrastructure is not up to that challenge. It's time to replace it.
That's a vote yes. Scott, thank you. Joe.
I want to thank everybody for participating in this forum. I think it's been very helpful. I think it's awfully important what we're being asked to vote on. We're convinced that these millages are ill-advised, ill-timed, and need to be defeated. After these millages are defeated, this community can come together and the school board can reach out and have a broad constituents reach out to weave relationships with broad constituencies in the community so that we can go forward together. We are the STOP Committee, and you can find us at stopcommittee.com.
And Joe Katz, thank you. Vote no. All right, thank you. People of the Bloomfield Hills School Districts, you certainly have a choice. I'm Charlie Langton. Thank you for watching